Today, this is a very special episode. We're going to be talking live with John Heffron about his friend.
Yeah, it was something that I had to get off my chest because I don't.
About his friend. About your friend had to get off his chest.
Was it my friend or was it me?
Okay, so we're going to be helping John. This isn't about John. This is about John's friend.
Yeah. It's about my friend.
We're going to fix it in post.
No, it was me though. Can I ask two highly legal questions real quick?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here.
We'll blur your face.
Okay, perfect. So here's the first one.
Give you a really funny voice.
So I have a real one, and I have a kind of a
asking for a friend,
a fake, and asking for a friend. Okay. But the real one, I have to maybe skirt around it, but I don't think so.
Why don't we say they're both asking for a friend?
Okay, but both asking for a friend. So I always tell Uber drivers, like when I'm in town, they always ask you, what are you in town for? And I make up what I'm in town for. It's just a fun thing I like to do.
Sure.
I come up with different things. And one day I said, I do installation, and the person goes, what do you install? And I said, I own a trapdoor company, and we're putting trapdoors in most of the 7-Elevens in the area. That way, if they ever get robbed, the guy pulls the thing, the trapdoor falls. So I was on stage once, and I wonder if that would be legal. And I had an attorney in the crowd that said, absolutely not. He just didn't heckle. He just happened to be there. He goes, you can't do that. And then there was another attorney in the crowd that said, yeah, you can. So I had two attorneys, and I go, you know what? I can't do my act because everybody now wants to know what happened. So I pulled both attorneys on stage, and I counted 12 people in the front row. Right?
Oh,
this is
incredible.
how court should be.
Yeah.
Court should be an impromptu meeting because I've been on 4 juries. One lasted a month and a half. It was like a super high case. And then a bunch lasted 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I've had more jury time than a lot of people.
A month and a half is incredible.
You need to learn how to answer the questions on voir dire better because they're clearly going, get this guy in, right.
Yeah. So I asked them, and they debated about it. And then we asked the crowd, The one guy said, there's a booby trap law from 1930. Some guy had cans of tomatoes. He set up a shotgun.
The Home Alone laws.
They open the door, the shotgun hit the guy. So you can't have booby trap.
Yeah.
Then the other guy said, if you drop the guy into the pit, and there's balls that catch him, as long as there's a sign that says, go this way to get out, you're not false imprisoning him. As long as you tell him, here's how you get out of here,
it's not,
then you're fine. So then, because I want
false imprisonment if he's robbing you, because you're obviously allowed to use.
But if somebody's just on your porch,
to detain somebody,
if somebody's just on your porch. No, I said then if you could have one of these at your house, and you have your Amazon box there, and somebody comes and then you drop them.
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna reenact your situation a little bit. So Natalie, you don't be so mouthy, okay? I'm gonna Natalie took an edible, she's just relaxing. So Natalie, you're gonna be the jury here, okay? This is gonna be our trap gun contractor. Do you want to go for or against? Do you want to try to argue that this is legal or not legal?
I don't mind it, so you can pick.
Okay, I'm going to take, I think it is legal, so I'm going to demonstrate how good of a lawyer I am by saying it's illegal. So I'm going to take the other side of it. I do think it's okay, so I'm going to give you the layup. Okay, so the first question is, you're going to put this in a 7-Eleven or at a home?
No, this would be home.
Okay, so now at home we have a trapdoor. Where's the trapdoor?
Trapdoor would probably be located on the porch.
Okay.
I would have it also very lit well, and maybe a sign. Just also a sign.
So the sign says trapdoor.
If you steal anything, there's a chance that you're going to hit a trapdoor.
That doesn't. I feel like it's not. Now it's not a trapdoor. Now it's a threat door.
That's true, but maybe even
so it's a beware of the dog, beware of the trapdoor.
Yeah, or people have gun. There might be a gun here, but I could even have you have to be this tall to steal from me. Like we could have, like a little ruler, so we're not dropping little kids.
Okay.
But yeah, just right in front of the door.
Okay, maybe even like a weight sensor on
almost like a Ring camera, or if somebody's talking to me and I decide, okay, that guy's bad, I can hit a remote from my phone, dropping them into a thing.
What do you weigh, Natalie?
Like 115, I think.
So let's say anything under 100 pounds. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's
you
censored.
could-
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't.
like a
it
squirrel
doesn't
or
treat-
Natalie comes on my porch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can
won't-
capture
won't drop.
Natalie, but
I mean, it would solve some of the obesity crisis, wouldn't it? You get like robbers or thieves getting
Yeah.
in shape a lot more.
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
they'd
beat
have to
the
be a little thinner. There's gonna be a lot of like Ozempic
intermittent
type,
fasting,
yeah.
just to try and.
So
yeah,
the question of legal actually is funny because like a lot of times people get caught up in like, is it legal or illegal? But there's another layer, right? So just because something is not illegal doesn't mean that you can't be held responsible for it. So
Right.
even if it's not a crime to have the trap door, if let's say a mailman fell in, or let's say it malfunctioned and a trick-or-treater fell in,
Oh, I didn't
right?
think about trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, you could
There's a lot of pressure on the system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or let's say a Jehovah's Witness, right? They're definitely going in the hole. You're not
Definitely
going to
not.
build a trapdoor and then not put Jehovah Witnesses
Yeah.
in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just have a sign on the door that says "God is a lie, this way out."
Yeah, yeah. But that was the thing. And then the one guy said it would be false imprisonment. And then he said the booby trap law. And I said, well, you're not killing the person. You're just dropping them maybe a foot.
What if they have a heart attack?
Well, that is what you're
Yeah.
going to get, isn't it? You're going to get a lot of people saying, I've got post-traumatic stress disorder from being dropped.
I'm afraid of
into a
porches
pit.
now.
I wet myself.
Yeah.
I had an accident or something. I've just soiled my clothes in shock.
The last time that I fell in a trapdoor, I was sex trafficked for 8 years. I had
Yeah,
flashbacks
yeah.
to
You
that.
can't.
It's like
yeah,
Nam.
you can't do that. Yeah. Oh well. Okay, I can't
growing
have
up in
that.
the Midwest is
Okay,
tough.
so that's
That's
the.
the first one.
So that's the first one. Now
Wait,
the
I want to, Natalie. You're being too mouthy. What do you think about this? Jump into the conversation.
About the trap door.
Yes.
I think I would do it. I would build one
Okay.
and just to see like what happens, but I would make mine like at least 10 feet deep.
What kind of people would you put in the? When are you
Everybody.
using the trapdoor?
Yeah, even my friends that I invite over. Yeah, just to keep everyone on their toes,
So like
I
if
do question the commercial efficacy of this. Like, how many Amazon packages would need to be stolen in order to, justify the ROI on basically a mine underneath your house?
I love the idea.
I think
to
just one.
piggyback, I love the idea of using it just for porch pirates.
Yeah.
Porch
Just
pirates.
for porch pirates. It's a trapdoor just for porch pirates. Because even if it's illegal, who's gonna? No jury is gonna. Everyone's had a package stolen.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the product.
I mean, you're never getting a conviction on that.
Never jury nullification. That is. We need the Luigi of trapdoors for porch pirates. Quote me.
All right.
Someone be Batman.
So, okay.
Okay,
So
go
do you
ahead.
want the real one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the second fake word. that is
Okay.
fake.
So let's say I know a guy.
Okay.
Who had a business manager.
All right.
For 25 years. This guy, my friend, good-looking guy. He's funny, good-looking.
A lot of flannel in his wardrobe.
Yeah, he's just a great guy. But anyway,
Clever and funny.
You guys are wearing the same shirt, by the way.
I
How
thought
have
it was
we not-
flannel day.
coordinated.
I missed. Yeah,
I texted him before I got here. Made
Yeah,
sure we were both
I thought it
home.
was the show was Hardly Dressed Nice.
Yeah.
So
Hardly homeless.
yeah, Hardly Homeless. It's
Mostly homeless.
So my friend had this business manager for 25 years. Let's say. Paid 5% of their income to the business manager.
Pretty standard so far.
The business manager took care of every dollar
Okay.
that came in. This person, he would get a check from a show or his painting business, whatever he did for a living, deposit it, and then somehow. House got paid, insurance got paid, cable got paid, just because that's what you do when you travel so much.
Yes.
Okay, so then let's say 20 years or 3 or 4 years ago,
Okay.
the IRS, wonderful people over there, show up
Okay.
and say, to my friend, you have not paid taxes for 2016, 2007.
And do they physically show up or send a letter?
They physically showed up.
Oh wow, that's we've already
and-
escalated.
And
serious.
you have not paid for these 3 years.
Okay.
My good friend, very funny guy, never received a notice from the IRS.
Yeah.
Never saw a thing.
Yeah.
Signed every tax form. You
Yeah.
know, that you owe this. You would sign
And they
it.
said you didn't pay at
yeah,
all.
They said it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. Whatever. Payroll tax or whatever. So they said, but this person every year signed the thing, and gave it to the business manager because that's how it always is.
And he just pocketed the taxes.
They're in charge, or just didn't send it. There's no way knowing. So then the IRS goes, you owe, whatever. Let's make up a number, $250,000. We'd like it by Monday.
Yeah.
So then that person had to go through all that. Now my question is,
Okay.
and then is there fiduciary responsibility on the business manager?
Yeah, several.
End of that, where my buddy and I just happen to be in the Zoom meeting, so this is why I know it pretty
Yeah.
well. Talking to the IRS, whatever person, they're probably fired now, by the way. They said basically, my friend was a big boy, and even though you have a third party, it's still your responsibility to get them their cash. You can't play dumb and say that you didn't know, but that's what the business manager job is. To me, it's like a landscaper going, "Hey, can I pay you to put anti-weed stuff down?"
Yeah.
And then weeds show up.
Now, we're both going to talk about this, but you just for your friend has had a lawyer look at this, right?
No, because nobody would take it. Because
Your friend reached out.
I reached out to. Yeah, then it was weird. We were messing around at night, and electricity hit. We became one. It was a weird thing. It was kind of like Freaky Friday. So that's why I talk like him and me.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But so for years, so you owed the $200,000 ish in paying that back, but then the payroll tax part, what I didn't do, you pay a company to do the payroll tax.
Let's go through this.
And then they're also responsible for if there's a mess up. It's not all on the guy who owns the S corp.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
so in your friend's situation here, let me start at the top. Okay, this is for the message for people at home. Okay, if you ever open your door and it's the IRS, get a lawyer. Because it's never going to be two people. Was it two? It was two people, right?
Well,
it wasn't just one person.
They showed up at a P.O. box in Los Angeles, where I no longer live. That was just where
they usually travel.
The business.
Okay, so they show up. Okay, and when the IRS physically shows up, shit's about to go down. Yeah. Like when they get someone out of the office, and it's never, oh, hey, we noticed a $3,000 discrepancy. It costs more for them to activate the case file, assign the agent, and send them out there.
Yeah.
So it's always a big number. You always get a lawyer. Maybe you don't sign the first lawyer you talk to, but immediately go talk to a lawyer. If that lawyer isn't going to take it, have it go to another lawyer, right? But you want a lawyer. Okay, now let's get more specific about your friend. So there's good news and bad news here based on what we've heard so far. The good news is for it to be like tax fraud, you have to be aware of it. So like the more serious charges here, right? I'm not saying that $200,000 isn't serious. It's hey, this money is that's a big amount of money, right?
Yeah. And by the way, most of that was penalties and fees. By the way.
Yeah,
like
which you can negotiate down. Which
my buddy said they wouldn't let him.
Yeah. Well, but did your buddy try to do it himself, or did he get a lawyer?
He had. Boy, I would be horrible at this. I would be a horrible guy under the wire. Like if I was he got a CPA friend who would, can you call these people?
Yeah.
And her didn't have whatever thing. She let whatever lapse that lets you talk to the IRS. You have to have a special. So a CPA friend of mine, what can you call them? Yeah. So he was trying to do all can we get some of this waived? But how the IRS works, if you use that little coupon once, like even in 1998 where you get some fees taken off, you're done. So save it for the big thing.
Has your friend gone after the business manager?
No, and here's what told from other people that good because most people like that have insurance, so it actually wouldn't even come out of their thing. You're not even harming them, even though they do well for themselves.
Yeah.
But the deal is, where's the responsibility? Like, sign the stuff.
Your friend
and everything. My friend, everything's always been paid. So but I think all he do is say, "You're just being dumb. You're a grown adult. You should know if." I
got good
news
news
for
for you.
Yeah, go on, you go.
You go.
Okay, I was going to say, right, to answer your earlier question, yes, an agent owes your friend the principal fiduciary obligations. I don't know if there was a written contract as to, look, business manager is going to perform these functions, file tax returns, etc., like that. But, if you're entrusting a fiduciary in those circumstances, there's usually going to be some kind of breach of fiduciary duty claim if they obviously fail in their duties. It's going to have to be a gross negligence claim, probably. I mean, this happened. Who's it? Like Johnny Cash's business manager.
Yeah, everybody.
It's
It's pretty hacky knowing that it's happened to.
I mean, ultimately, you've got tax evasion, which is obviously illegal, and as Josh said, it's got to be intentional. So that's not what's really happening here. Told us. You've got tax avoidance, which obviously, if you find the right tax structure, that is legal. That's the whole point. You're kind of in the middle, which is just non-payment. They're correct in that you are obliged to pay your taxes. But the damages claim that you would have is like the penalties and interest and the attorney's fees that you've incurred if you're going to go and get a lawyer to work this out. And John, that's what the business manager whoever was required to remit your tax liability to the IRS, that's what they have to pay.
There's two things we like on this show. We like helping people and we like comedians. So we're going to help your friend. We're going to help your friend. He sounds great. We're going to help him off air. But we're going to help your friend.
Okay. My other quick question is, and my other buddy who was a DA.
It's just the John Heffron crimes my friends may or may not have committed.
Oh my God.
He's like, no, put that guy on hold. I got one.
Pro
So I got
bono
a
clinic.
kilo of heroin in my anal sphincter. And
but lastly, I have another friend that, is my, he says he's worried that there's a statute of limitations on stuff like that because it's been 2 years maybe at this point where there's nothing been. And he's
which state are they in?
California, like something like that. I mean, go after the
normally I don't know about California off the top of my head. I think it's 5 years for breach of fiduciary duty. Breach contracts usually like 4 years.
It also tolls from when you became aware of it.
Yeah, and
right. So when did the IRS physically show up?
I would say about 2 years ago, but
it should still be good.
But the IRS papers they would always go to the business manager.
Your friend's awareness of it would have started after the IRS showed up, and just because you're aware of it then, that doesn't mean that you're aware of what happened. So you're aware that the taxes were not paid. That's the first awareness.
Yeah.
But then the second awareness is, well, how exactly were the taxes not paid? And so this would be a date that is later than when the IRS showed up. So you can usually use that for your statute of limitations. Statute of limitations. That's the whole Kobe statue outside of we're going to wrap this. This is hardly legal. If you have a crazy legal story and you want to talk to some lawyers anonymously for free, call us.
Wait, we're not getting paid?
Nothing at all. I don't know how we're going to pay for it, to be honest.